Hi, time for another episode of the Thought Project. Just so you know, we're approaching the end of August here, so I hope you've been following throughout the month, whatever your summer vacation plans have been. I know a lot of you have probably been out hitting up the great outdoors. It's a fabulous month for doing that in the US. So it's also an extremely hot month in the southern part of the US. So I'm going to play a little bit of the opening song from the old video game Halo. It has this really interesting sort of Gregorian chant, sort of monk style to it. I think you would say Catholic monks, Gregorian chant or Buddhist monks. That's really not the right term for Buddhist monks. That's more like Tibetan holy men or whatever. But anyways, I'm kind of talking over it. It's not really a song that goes there much. Like I'm not gonna dance to it. And got my tea. Tea bag is out. You would have had to watch the last episode to understand that reference, but. Oh, got my sweatshirt on today. It's actually cold up where I'm at today, rainy, so it's interesting to think back when I was talking about the entertainment industry. Like Halo has been around since the 2000s at least, and then you have Final Fantasy, two of the biggest video games, no longer really video games, you know what I mean, like games. And when you think about the entertainment industry, you have to consider there's this whole entire world of games that are just huge. The money is huge, bigger than Hollywood or the money or anything in it. And yet we hardly ever reference it in the mainstream media, which shows you where the media is at, and at least the mainstream media, and how weird things are. It's just a really good example of the fact there's so much entertainment out there that people engage in that has nothing to do with like the bizarre agency that I've been covering or some of the other stuff that's gone on. Lindsay Lohan, like really not, like nothing to do with her, way more money. Anyways, it's just kind of a different way of looking at the world, as we head into this phase where there's more and more entertainment being offered outside of what Hollywood has, and probably bigger than Hollywood, and yet we don't really reference it on a daily basis. It's kind of weird. It's not the mainstream media anyways. I think it's good though. I'm going to move on. There's not much to do with the song Halo beyond listen to it, the opening. I want to remind you that the show is actually about economics. And it's important to remember that because you really have to remember what economics is in order to keep up with the show. Or then the topics will really make sense to you. It'll just seem like it's going like all over the place. And so when you think of economics, you have to remember that it's really the process of considering valuable goods or even basic goods and marketplace services. And it is the study of the scarcity of goods and its implication for the use of resources and production and goods and services. You get what I'm saying? Like it's all that stuff around goods and services and the scarcity of them, what causes them to be scarce. Crime affects them. Politics affects them, and policy, buyer habits. And then there's also this bizarre situation with the media at times not really even presenting what's actually happening. So, at least depending on what media you're consuming, you really got to look around for different sources and then think it for yourself on issues, as far as I can tell. Just here in the USA, at least. But I'm going to go through something really quickly, which is that essentially there's this really bizarre kind of dynamic, as I referenced in the last episode, that you've had this incident in Hawaii, and then there's been growing activity with the Russian Chinese Navy in the South China Sea, and then the US is doing drills as well at the same time, because they're supposed to be doing drills right now. Supposed to be drills right now with Australia and Japan that we're doing, the US. So it's important to note that Australia and Japan are actually our allies in this situation. Japan didn't have a navy for a long time. It's been restored. So it's really good news that they have their navy back because they're on our team. As the situation which Russia and China develops, knowing that Russia and China's economies have tanked at this point. And I note all of this in reference to Hawaii, that I have to swivel back to the fact that, I went through this long investigation, and I told the government, the US government, several agencies, I said, we're going to do this trip to Hawaii. Cersei and Wilhelm are going to pull some kind of stunt. And there's going to be an incident later with real estate, which is what's happened. And I got really frustrated during my years at DC trying to talk to people because there were so many people that were assets. They turned out to be Russian assets. Like I point out this woman that, I finally defriended her on Facebook after moving from DC because she tried to be so dangerous, and she was running what was supposed to be a women's group organization. It turned out to be a front group, and I ended up not going to their events and getting away from them. Like I never gave them money. I volunteered at first for them when they were starting out, and then started to get clued in that there was a problem, and then just got away. And a lot of it was that in my earlier 20s, this woman had gotten super excited about the idea of there being a terrorist attack at the Capitol. She's friends with Dan, who murdered and raped all those women, and was actively planning the attack at the Capitol, and he's Russian. And I could only agree and think that she must be Russian herself. So it was part of dumping her from my life and even my social media. But I do it very carefully, which is really weird because that's how complicated the DC area is. And, finally to realize that she was lying about having a job in the U.S. government, the U.S. Navy, and she doesn't. That was a cover put together from this Hollywood agency that I'm talking about that's actually really a Russian intel group. So, fake name, fake life, fake job, doesn't work for the U.S. government. And she was a Bush appointee, though, which is kind of scary because I don't know how she got into the Bush administration. And, we had one person really high up in the administration that was really nasty, like it's really good people. And then we had like a couple that were just totally sick and turned out to be KGB, FSB assets. And Bush being one of our last presidents that was polite and not rude. And, we have to think about these issues because why is she still free even in the U.S. today? Like, why is this person still out there? I noticed she's been pushed further and further out into the D.C. area, like into the bad areas. She doesn't get to live in Arlington. She doesn't get to live in the nice parts of Maryland. So she's being pushed further and further into bad territory. She's definitely buying up real estate, but the Russians do that. So it's just really obvious that she's got this entire cover from this fake Hollywood agency that's really a Russian intel group. And she's, I feel sorry for anyone that's purchased in this agency because they don't understand it's a Russian intel group and the whole thing's just a front and fake. And whether they can take the whole thing and do something else with it is really up to them. But I wouldn't purchase any part of it. I wouldn't give money to her organization. And, you can call them borderline psychopaths, whatever. But one thing I got out of a conversation I had with Karen a long time ago, and this is just strategy, is that she started going on a rant about how she hated me. She was mad at me because I was refusing to work for free. And she was a part of that agency as well. And she said she hated me. And I said, well, got it. Good. You hate me. You hate me. So I'm going to go away now. I'm going to go away. I'm going to go away. Right? Because if someone legally says they hate you and they want you to go away, you can totally get up and just go away. And you could work on a really long process or a short process for doing that. So just remember that if you're dealing with anyone with borderline, whether you think they're an asset or not, or just whatever their problem is, that they're crazy, if they say they want you to go away, even if they're probably just saying it, go away. Do it, because legally they could hold it against you later and say that you were stalking them. So do it. Just go away. Don't hang out. And it's a great way out of the situation. She did later recant it. I mean, both women actually did. But, because this other woman who'd worked in the Bush administration that turned out to be a lunatic and an asset said that to me once too. And I said, well, then we're done, because you just said you don't like me and you don't want me around. Well, borderlines will always say things like that. So will assets, because they're trying to manipulate you and guilt you. And if they're acting that mean, then why would you want them around? You'd want them out of your life, right? You'd want them gone. Gone. So anyways, here's the thing. And if they tell you they hate you, that's a perfect time to be like, time to go. You want me gone? I'm gone. Great. Be done with this stupid conversation. And, that's how you win, too. It's how you win in life. Winning in life is not exactly how people think it always goes, but that's a way to win. Big win. So, but here's the thing about Hawaii. Big investigation done. I said, you let them go down there. There's going to be problems. When we were in Lahaina, I was poisoned once and got really sick at a restaurant by Cersei, and then Patricia actually tried to kill me over at the beach. She took me to a beach. Everyone pointed this out repeatedly. They said, she took you to a surfing beach, dunked you in the water and left, and you could have been killed. And I injured my back there, and then ended up, again, like that's been a recurring theme in my life. And then, and I was strong enough as a swimmer to get through it, but she really did try to kill me because she could have gone to what's called the baby beach where people actually swim. But she chose the beach where I could have been killed and then let me get injured, and almost drowned. So it was really obvious that Cersei and Wilhelm were off doing the whole area of Lahaina for surveillance. And now we have this huge fire and over 114 dead, 800 missing or dead. So it's almost 1,000 people killed, and the government knew about all of it. The federal government knew. How would you like to be Hawaii? Like, there's all this intel and they just didn't give it to you. Because it's not my job to follow Hawaii around and tell them. It's actually the federal government's job to tell them that and to protect them. And they didn't do it. And there were too many people I met on both sides of the aisle that were more than happy to do insider trading off of these events. To say COVID, just let it go ahead. Attack on the Capitol, just let it go ahead. Hawaii, just let it go ahead. And they all thought they were going to investing off of it. And I actually managed to confront all of them at least. I said, you are not doing insider trading off of this. Forget it. So if any of you knew me just right now, don't even think for 1 minute that you're going to do anything with your stocks over this stuff. Just forget. You can't. It's really easy when the government can get you on. Like, the SEC could totally come after you for that. So, but we need to note all this because Cersei and Wilhelm are tied in with Kendrick, head of the Hollywood agency, or former head, still a part of it, founded it. Those weird videos of kids and all that gross stuff. And you've got the fact that Patricia was involved, Buffalo Bill. It's very obvious that the Chinese and Russians were invested in Lahana and trying to invest more. And it's unfortunate because, now people are saying that this is Oprah's fault. Well, Oprah bought around $5 million in property in 2023, and she got about 20 acres in 2021. So I would say about 1,000 acres valued around $5 million in 2023, 20 acres in 2021 for about $700,000. And there is a long list of Hollywood celebrities, I'm just looking down as I read this, that have actually been able to live there and their homes have not been touched. So that's Jeff Bezos, Lady Gaga, Bill Gates, Morgan Freeman, Will Smith, and Julia Roberts. Yeah, they all look really guilty. There's no way any of these people... I don't know about Bill Gates, but maybe that was like a fake name thrown in there, but he's the only one that stands out to me as being a possible throw-in that may not be real. But the rest of them, it's just like, it's too weird. Oprah had the relationship, especially Oprah, had a relationship to Weinstein, and that's what's making everybody really question things, because she's part of that bizarre network of disassociative people, and they've all been identified as KGB, FSB, and they've all been a part of these terrorist attacks and organizing them and ripping people off. So, and now the governor of Hawaii, Josh Green, has come out and said there's a moratorium on buying properties in Lahana. So good for him. Because this thing of pushing, and there's been pushing on these people as they're grieving over their properties, lost their homes and family, to be told that they have to sell their property. So that's totally disgusting and illegal, and there's a moratorium, so nobody can come in and bully them. The mafia can't come in and push them to sell. So they couldn't sell it if they wanted to, and they can't be forced into it or told that they have to say they want to, which could possibly be a problem. So, good for them. But I'm just totally fed up with Congress on this one. They're having these long, leisurely hearings, and we're all supposed to take it seriously, and meanwhile, here's another major event. And it's been considered one of the worst fires in U.S. history. It may not be, but it's one of the worst of recent memory. And the fact that there was so much work put in by me and other people, and that Cersei and Wilhelm went there and did that, and there were attempts on my life there, and they went ahead and carried out this attack. And it's probably later going to be, like, literally classified as a war-based attack by Russia and China. One of them both. But it's definitely from their mafia, and it's definitely around the insurance money involved, and it's definitely involved in getting that property. And trying to attain more property closer to the U.S. to attack us. So it's really important that those people be allowed to keep their properties. That the U.S. citizens and the natives who are not loyal to Russia and China actually keep their properties. I don't think Oprah cares about any of us. So I think she's probably just another disgusting person. After everything I've seen. And it bothers me because I spent time testifying about this stuff, and you do those reports, there was just an effort to, like, tell me to shut up all the time, and people just wanted to go ahead and pursue their weird, real estate deals. And I say that because one of the women involved in trying to shut me up was an Iranian woman who works for the mafia that was in Arlington County and used to threaten me, and she talked about she wanted to steal my furniture, and she said, you have to do something big and lose your home and all this stuff to make a statement. I said, no, I don't. That's not going to get people's attention. They're not going to care. People lose their homes all the time. Nobody cares. Honey, they don't care. They don't care. Nobody went after Cersei and Wilhelm over it. They didn't do anything about it. Nobody cared, honey. That's a reality a lot of people don't get. And I told them, I said, they're not going to care, and it's rude of you. You're just a jerk who wants to steal my home from me. And she was. She was a nasty person who wanted to steal from people. And she murdered a whole bunch of women up in Arlington County around D.C. So now you know. Same type of people want Hawaii, Lahana burned. Almost 1,000 people dead. She's still in her job in Arlington County today. And she helped them set it up. So, now you know. And I just want to make sure people are really clear on that so you're not confused. I don't want you going through conversations with some of these people, especially around the DC area, because the mafia gets people into jobs and government jobs in there and sometimes out in Virginia and Maryland that they can't accomplish in other parts of the country. I just don't want you to be naive at what you're dealing with there. There's a little bit of an issue with Miami, like Los Angeles, certain cities, it's just like a loss. So, um, as far as dealing with them and their effect on everything. Ugh. So, just trying to see what else we want to go through because we got through this stuff really quickly. And I want to note that, some of this also went back to churches because I went to what was supposed to be a split church from the fake front church that the Russians had founded up in Northwest DC. And it has a national denomination. It was from another denomination that actually existed in the US. And it was this like front group that was supposed to be like a new reiteration of it. And it was actually just a fake front group. And, they were into human sacrifice, animal sacrifice, abuse of kids, all kinds of weird stuff. And the reality is that the split off group that I went to that was supposed to be more conservative in Arlington was also no different, really. And I confronted them. I mean, they were slightly different. They had some people who are true believers, really believe in Christianity there, but they were just caught up in the wrong place. Because they were also uncomfortable with dog, cats, kids, being abused, women being raped and murdered. Now, you get into what's supposed to be a Christian church and they start talking about human sacrifice, get out. Because that's not a Christian church. That's not what Jesus Christ was about. A lot of religions don't engage in human sacrifice. That's something that's so called weird, I'm not even sure the Satanists would follow it. Like, I don't get to Satanism either. I'm just saying, sometimes you got to look into this stuff and look at it really critically. You need to note that tonight is the first GOP debate. It is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was with Ron DeSantis, Mike Pence, the former governor of Indiana, former governor of South Carolina, Nikki Haley, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, Doug Burgum, I don't know who that is, Vivek Ramaswamy, he's a biotech entrepreneur, Asa Hutchinson, the governor of Arkansas, and also notably, there's been more news around Biden having taken $20 million from foreign services today too. So, and Donald Trump will not be in that debate. I have no commentary on any of this. I don't want to be seen in the media or anyone's personal opinions as being solid conservative or a Republican because I don't actually go to their events and I haven't been involved in the party in a long time. But that's just what's going on. There's a debate tonight. I have no strong opinions on any of them. I just certainly hope that we get on with this thing because both Biden and Trump are going through process in the courts right now. And Trump's clearly busy testifying, so he really can't do a bunch of debates. And it's just, it is what it is. You got two different guys here that are in trouble with because of Russia and Russian lunacy. And then Cersei and Wilhelm are still free after all the work that was put into those investigations. Kendrick's still playing around in his, fake Hollywood agency, front group. They're still doing events. They're still trying to buy up other organizations to cover up what they actually do, which is run drugs, prostitute kids, and work for the Russian mafia. Whatever. We need to note that Representative Lauren Boebert, is up for re-election, and she, as of yesterday, numbers came back that have showed that her Democratic challenger, Adam Frisch, is ahead. So that's pretty good news, I'd say. Yeah, I think she's one who needs to go. Like, the sooner that one just leaves, the better. Because all she does is obfuscate and mess up issues in Congress. She can just go. Don't forget when I said that Russia and China are doing joint operations right now in the South China Sea, and that we are currently doing them with Australia and Japan. So that's who we're allied with right now. We also need to talk about, this is really, we're going to swivel over to entertainment now because it's funny. Apparently Tom Cruise is taking steps to move away from Scientology, the cult organization that anybody says anything about them, they get really mad. And it's apparently because he wasn't able to see his daughter Suri for a number of years, maybe 10 years or something because of them, after his divorce from Nicole Kidman. So, good for him. I hope he gets out if that's what he wants to do. Same as Lara Ramini finally suing them. I had no idea Tom Cruise was that unhappy with them. I wonder if it's a career choice, but it's always highly possible with Scientology that, someone would finally just decide they want it out after all those years. So, life is kind of long and short at the same time, and it's not really fun to just be in a horrible situation, just want out of something. So it's kind of sad that he wasn't really able to have a relationship with the adopted kid over it. But considering he's involved in that cult, I feel like it might be better for the kid. Oh, no, wait, that's not Suri. Suri was with, what was the other? Katie Holmes. Yeah, Suri was Katie Holmes' daughter. So she really got tough about that. She's from Ohio. He couldn't see her because of it. I have no idea what had happened with the other two kids, Nicole Kidman, but I feel like Nicole Kidman's kept a pretty good distance from him as well. So it's kind of important to think about that he had to give up relationships and then had very small relationships with other people that should have been family. So, yeah, Katie Holmes didn't want to put up with it, didn't want her kid around it. But, and then let's note this. Prince William. No, wait, that's not the way I want to say that. Hold on a second. Oh, this year. Nope. So Prince William and King Charles III have canceled a visit with Prince Harry, which was supposed to happen. They were supposed to have peace talks after the Invictus games, and they were canceled as of the 21st of this month. So that's their announcement. They're not even going to bother. Good for them. He seems like a mess, and he's tied in with that woman who's part of this weird group of people that apparently want to burn down Lahana for money. So, and tell people they have to sell their property and don't have a right to have a living. Like, I'm not allowed to have furniture. You're not allowed to have a home because of this kind of attitude of these people. I mean, whoever thought Oprah after all these years would try to be like Russian mafia, but that's it. That's what they're saying. You know? It's just another one. So, for all those years. There's some interesting articles right now related to the SAG and WGA issues that's writers, but so quote Hollywood, not being able to stay in their homes. We're all supposed to be concerned about them. Apparently, one guy is claiming that Bill Pater, I don't even know who that is, or Bill Parker, he's apparently selling his house because he's not making enough money. Guys, nobody cares about the SAG WGA people having problems. Both of those unions turn out to be fake unions. They're tied to Russian activity, and they've rejected actual actors and actresses and people with artistic ability in favor of people that were part of the Russian mafia. So I don't think I care if some of these people lose their homes. I don't really, I've done real work. I drove Lyft. I worked in home health during the pandemic. I've been injured. Like, I don't care about these people losing things. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, well, Oprah still got her house. She's one of your friends. Jeff Bezos still has his house. Why don't you go talk to them? So they seem to be doing pretty well. They don't even have to worry about fires. I mean, Cersei and Wilhelm want to go around and destroy property in the U.S. and kill people. And those two don't have to worry. So maybe you should go talk to them. Don't tell the rest of us. The rest of us are too busy trying to deal with it all. So, this is really funny. Taylor Swift fans have turned on her finally. They are not willing to buy all of the fake copies or covers of her songs. Remember, Taylor Swift didn't write any of her music, okay? It's all stolen because she works with Buffalo Bill. And so she's trying to do vinyl CDs, albums, all kinds of crazy stuff. Nobody wants to buy it. They're not bothering to pay for the reorders. All of her stuff got taken by Scooter Braun. And also, Demi Lovato and Ariana Grande have reportedly split ways with him as well. And so it's supposed to be like this big fight with Taylor Swift over him, selling her masters or buying her masters or taking her masters. And, in the end, it might be like Scooter Braun's the one that has the most information on all this. Like, he's the one that explains to you what's going on with Donald Trump and Biden. Because I put together as much as anybody's ever going to do it. So, but you gotta laugh about that. And so and this is where it gets really funny. Taylor Swift this week has been going on about how she was declined. She has declined to perform at the Super Bowl. That is actually not true. I looked this up. The NFL did not officially offer that woman a position at the Super Bowl, and I cannot imagine in a million years, especially with NFL teams actually playing over her concerts, that they would ever ask her to perform. Do not bring that woman to the Super Bowl. Oh my gosh. No. No. You'd be better off getting out like one of the old rock bands or something from the 70s. Like, get out Leonard Skinner or Robert Plant. Like, anything before you bring back bring Taylor Swift to anything. I was gonna say bring back, but I mean, don't bring her to the Super Bowl. Like, that's just awful. I'm so glad they weren't planning to have her in the first place, but it's amazing that she's making up stories that they, that she declined. She declined to perform. No, she didn't. So full of it. And let's look at this for a second. So, the administrator of the Florida Ethics Commission is being asked to leave his job at Disney as the new administrator of Walt Disney World's governing district. And it's because he opposed the campaign that Disney had on the Don't Say Gay campaign. I don't know what that is. I feel like this is an invented story. I'm not sure what it's really about, but it has something to do with gay issues and him also having a position with the governor and this commission and ethics. I don't really get it. But one thing I do know is that there's definitely been issues in the past. Like, one thing I can run up against, first of all, that DOJ cited that Kendrick was racist because he wasn't willing to pay me for my work because it wasn't Russia. But I also had a problem with Buffalo Bill because Buffalo Bill is a serial killer and really nasty guy. Works with Taylor Swift and J.Lo. And he, thought it was okay to attack people and he would dress up as a woman and then cite his status as a trans person as an excuse for attacking and beating people and raping them and stealing material for these artists and working for the Russian mafia. And so remember like 10 years ago, there were all these debates over whether or not you could tell a gay couple you wouldn't make a cake or a pie for them. Well, that had more to do with the fact that there were all these problems with people who were not legitimately a part of the LGBTQA community saying that they were owed something and citing these different civil rights groups when in reality they had nothing to do with them and they were just simply criminals. You can't cite your religion. You can't cite your conservative stance on women. You can't cite your stance on birth. You can't cite your homosexuality or being trans or any of those as a reason to steal from people and not pay them. If people work for you and you are labor trafficking them, it doesn't matter what your status is, you are a labor trafficker. There is no safe zone for being a labor trafficker in the US. You simply cannot be one in this country. It is simply illegal. And nobody can use those as an excuse. It's just plain old untrue. I know this because Buffalo Bill spent a long time even in Arlington trying to argue for his right to traffic people because he dressed as a woman. And it was something he literally just invented to try to get away with the crime. So I'm just letting you know that because so you understand, just so you understand what's actually going on in the world. Like, people don't have the right to just labor traffic you in any situation. So anyways, it's hard to know if you're young and if you don't really have anybody to support you or support your beliefs, you know what I mean? So anyways, I'm going to finish out today by singing Don't Stop Believin'. And it was originally performed by Journey. That should be pretty good for the show, don't you think? Yeah. It's a good show. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. I sing around a smoky room. I smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. The shadows searching in the night. Street life, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Working hard to get my fill. Everybody wants a thrill, paying anything to roll the dice just one more time. Some will win, some will lose. Some will want to sing the blues Living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Oh, my allergies bother me. Whew. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street lights, people. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street lights, people. Don't stop believing. Hold on to the feeling. Street light people. Don't stop. And that was the show for today. By the way, I just want to say to you, if you were from Lahana and your feelings were hurt, you've been offended by what President Joe Biden said about Lahana, because he's been making some really horrible comments. That man has cognitive disorder and dementia. Please don't listen to anything he said. I just know the rest of us really feel badly about your situation. And it's just a travesty that our current president has their cognitive problems, and sometimes they come out in the way that he speaks and expresses himself. So have a good day. Thank you.